Watching around. Welcome back to Just Squatching Around, and if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, this has been something that I had been working on before I actually worked on YouTube. I wanted to work on both a podcast and a YouTube channel at the same time, but it turned out that 2023 and the end of 2022 I was working more on the YouTube channel, so I kind of neglected to work on the podcast. One of my good friends actually suggested recently to film my podcast episodes, and that way it would be on both YouTube and Spotify. So this is me trying that out at this point. If you're listening on Spotify or wherever I have this podcast up, I will have a link in the description for the YouTube channel. So if you wanted to watch the YouTube video instead of just listening to the tag or listening to my voice, you can, or vice versa. If you want to check out the podcast, Just Squatching Around, and check out the previous episodes of Just Squatching Around, I will leave a link in the description below. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, follow wherever you can. Give some love out there, definitely, because yeah. So this is actually a bonus video for this week because I forgot to do Advice Sunday last week on the YouTube channel, and I feel bad, but it just, summer's a busy time for us, and it's just one of them things that we get so caught up in our projects and what we're doing with family, with friends, that we kind of forget to post on social media. We're not huge social media people, so that's why you don't see me too awfully much on the channel or on my Instagram or Facebook or wherever you follow me. That's just how we are in general. I figured the first episode of this we can kind of do a life update, just because I haven't been posting on the podcast in forever. If you hear Rooster, that is exactly correct. I am outside, so he's noisy, especially when he hears people in the yard. So I figured life update would be very idyllic for this episode, just to kind of get my feet wet on filming the podcast and kind of give an update of everything, especially for family and friends. Like I said, I don't post on social media a lot, so a lot of people don't know what's going on in our lives. So it's just one of them things. I think I'll start out with some of the projects we're doing, because I know I've mentioned in some of our recent videos and some of our recent posts that we have been working on different projects and stuff. We've been working on some bigger projects, one of which I have not kind of disclosed, just for the fact that we're still working on the foundation of getting that project settled and set in stone before we kind of announce it. So that's the biggest reason why I haven't, close family and friends know about it, but I haven't really said anything on here or said anything on even my personal feed for that matter. But anyway, we have the other big project. We'll be getting married next year, and so I've been kind of looking at the wedding planning as a project. I know that's probably not the way to look at it, but I also been looking at it as like an art project, which has really helped me kind of figure out how to start planning and everything. I have an artistic brain, so looking at it in an artistic perspective and thinking of it as an art installation, because really when you look at it, weddings are really an art installation in and of themselves. It really helps for me to figure out, okay, this is the elements I want, this is the colors we're going with, this is what we're doing. So I just got done. I actually have a graphic design minor, and I have the opportunity to design my wedding invitations and to design, save the dates and do the DIY and stuff like that. It helps us save money. And I've been working on that a little bit. That's one of my projects. My other project, actually, just a little side project. I have a good friend that's been writing a book, so I've been doing a book cover for him. That's the first big graphic design project I've actually done, which is kind of nerve-wracking at the same time, really cool for me, because I finally get to utilize my minor in a way that I really want to. My fiance, he's been working on his motorcycle, trying to get it out-of-state worthy. We got to replace one of the we got to replace the back shock, not one of the back shocks, just the back shock. It kind of is I don't even know how to describe it, but when we had the Roadstar out the last time for a motorcycle trip, it kind of pooched down when you have all the, like, the tail bag, the saddle bags full, and we had me on there at that time. So he would love to get a new shock on there just in case we did want to two up one of these times for a trip, or, you know, just to be able to haul stuff on there safely. He has been working on the fenders on it as well. I will advise anybody that's listening to this, if you do have a motorcycle, please undercoat your fenders when you buy it, or if you're thinking about buying one, or if you're just like, oh, maybe I should go look at that. That's what happened with his. We thought, you know, you would think the manufacturer and the dealer and somebody down the road would have undercoated the fenders, because you get a lot of, you know, late spring salt, you get some grime up in there, oils, what have you, from, you know, riding all the time, dirt. And what happened was we didn't know that, and he yeah, it just rusted completely out. It was having huge holes in the back fender and the front fender too. So he's bought new ones. He's actually painting the front fender black instead of trying to figure out what color red it was, and then you don't get it right. You know how that goes. It's just one of those things that you really rather just paint it black and call it a day, because it still looks good on that. What was it else on that? We took the saddlebags off. We don't have the Vikings anymore. He did buy some new waterproof bags, and he's actually fabricating a new sissy bar for it. We're just one of those people that the manufactured sissy bars sometimes aren't the best. They don't hold up. The one that he had was there's a lot of chrome, and it was starting to really rust as well. So he's actually, we'll have to post about that definitely when we take our trip and kind of show you. But then, you know, he's got the odd projects. We're just trying to catch up really when it comes to projects from 2020. I feel like the last 3 years we really haven't been able to catch up on everything, just because of work and things happening in our life. My brother had an accident back in 2021, so a lot of our summer was consumed with that. And 2022, I don't think we know what happened to 2022. I really can't tell you. I know 2020, it was one of those things where we were working so many hours that Tennessee actually snuck up on us. So it's just been a crazy 3 years, and finally we're just now getting to some of the projects that really we needed to have done 3 years ago, but just really haven't had the chance to get it done. There's just always been something going on. So with wedding planning going on, I'm sure, I know I've already got the question of, are you guys doing a destination wedding? No, I would love to, but no. Reason being, our grandparents are very, very near and dear to our hearts, and unfortunately, they all have pretty much health problems that I would be afraid to ask them to go as far as I would love to for a destination wedding. And if I could teleport my grandmothers, I would, but it just didn't, it's not feasible for us to have a destination wedding. So we're having the next best thing. We're having a backyard wedding, and I'm so excited because it is a vintage camp theme wedding, and we are really going to incorporate all of our travels in it. So even though we're not having a destination wedding, it is something that we get to pour our heart and souls out and get to share all of our experiences with everybody, and get to share our photos and share and have a good time really with all of our family members. So we're gonna have the best wedding ever, regardless if it's a destination wedding or not. I know I had a few people ask us about that already. Am I sad? Not really. I mean, it is what it is, and we're just, like I said, we're gonna have a good time either way we look at it. I'm excited too. You know, having 2 years to plan a wedding really is awesome, because you kind of get to set in stone and pick and choose, and you don't feel like you're pressured into anything with this. And that's been the coolest thing ever, is to be able to have the time to be able to make this really cool, awesome wedding. So I'm really excited about it. Anybody trying to get into the wedding planning, or, you know, just got engaged or anything, it is overwhelming at first. I will say that it is very overwhelming. There's just a lot going on. You don't realize actually how much goes into a wedding until you really look at it, and it's just crazy. It really is. So that's kind of our projects for right now. Trip wise, I know we always get the question from our family and sometimes our friends of, well, where are you going next? So we're kind of planning into 2025 so far. I know that's a while, that's a ways out, it's insane, but it's kind of had to happen just because we didn't know what we were gonna do with our honeymoon. We didn't know what we were gonna do, you know, trip wise. He's celebrating his 30th birthday this year. That's why we're actually, the next trip is going to be for his 30th. It's going to be in the Smokies like usual, but we're actually doing it differently. So the beginning of 2023, we actually sat in the car. We were driving home from somewhere, and we kind of reminisced with some of the stuff that we had done before 2020. And one of it was motorcycle riding. We used to motorcycle ride all the time, and once 2020 hit, we bought the new bike for me that needed more work than we thought, and we just really hadn't gotten to everything like that, and we kind of miss it. And we missed going on another trip too. In 2019 we went for my brother's 21st birthday down to the Smokies on motorcycles, and we still talk about that to this day. So naturally, John was like, well, you want to go again? I'm like, well, sure, let's do it again this year. But the catch was, he really wanted me to ride my own motorcycle this year. He wants me to have that experience as well, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to replace the shock yet on the Roadstar before all that happened or not. So I get that. So we bought the Enfield, which, yeah, you haven't really seen very many videos of that. I'm hoping to start doing that. I finally found the helmet mount. I could not find my helmet mount for the life of me. It accidentally went to Florida with us for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. I must have grabbed it by accident. But I did find it, so we should be getting videos on YouTube more with the Royal Enfield, and I really want to share my motorcycle journey as well sometime soon, so that should be coming out as well. But in all honesty, that's why we bought the Enfield. I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to get used to riding again as well. After not riding for almost 3 years, it was kind of one of those, okay, you know, I'm gonna have to do some more riding, get used to everything again, and it's just kind of a realization. We're doing a little different too going down this trip. We're actually starting out in Shenandoah, and we're gonna stay at our favorite lodge up there, and we're taking the Blue Ridge Parkway down to the Smokies. So my bike is a 350cc. It could probably do 70 pretty easily, but for it being so new, we didn't want to push it too hard on the highway, and so we decided to take some back roads this time around to get to everywhere. So that was kind of why we chose to do the Blue Ridge. Plus, we haven't really done the full Blue Ridge yet together, so that's going to be an interesting kind of thing as well. And then we're going to stop in the Smokies and stay down there for probably about a week and a half, really, to be honest. We really wanted to do a 2-weeker this year just because we haven't done that since 2018, and we really enjoy it. We just feel like sometimes when we stay there for a week, we just don't have enough time to do everything we want to do, and that's kind of the long and the short of why we decided on a 2-weeker this year. This year is also new for us because they just started the parking tag thing over at the Smokies, where you have to pay for a parking tag. They technically can't charge an entrance fee over there, so they're charging you what the entrance fee would be for a week as a parking tag. So if you're driving down to the Smokies, plan on having a trip, please be aware of that. You're gonna have to go over to one of the visitor centers, or you can even do it online before you go. Just make sure you print it off, because they are really inspecting that. Their rule of thumb was you could stay less, what was it, 10 to 15 minutes or less at a location, take some pictures and stuff. But we did that at Okana Lefty. We stopped briefly to go to the bathroom, and they left a warning sheet on our car. We were there for probably 5 minutes, and they had just left a warning sheet on our car, and that really kind of burned our biscuits on that one. So we'll see how long we'll see. We're kind of just playing it by ear on seeing how the parking tag plays along and seeing how it goes. We're trying to figure out how to put it on the motorcycle, because of course, you know, I looked at the FAQs on that on their website, and somebody that obviously doesn't ride a motorcycle wrote it, because they're like, well, you just tape it to your windshield. Well, what happens if you don't have a windshield? Because I don't have a windshield, and I don't think John will be putting his windshield back on. So just be mindful of that too if you're motorcycle riding. But after the whole warning thing, we don't know. We'll see how it goes. I guess we might be killing the tradition after a couple years if it just is kind of just too much of a hassle. I hate to do that, but you know, and we both hate to do that, but it kind of just kills the vibes. That's the reason why people go down to the Smokies. Is, you know, it's a free park. It's one of the free national parks in the US, and with having a parking tag now, which I mean, I guess I get, because there's been a lot of traffic. I mean, we've seen it since 2020. It used to be, before 2020, you went down after Labor Day and it was pretty dead. It was snowbirds, you know, the usual. But once 2020 hit, it was just like it was summer all over again, and it was insane the amount of people that were there when we usually go, because it's usually the off season by then. So I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, it kind of, I know it's been rubbing a lot of people raw on that, especially locals that have family members or ancestors that are buried in the cemeteries over there. They're very angry about it, because they have to pay a parking tag to go look at their ancestors' graves or visit their ancestors' graves every year now. And I don't blame them for being very, very mad about it. I'm hoping that it just goes away after a while, but I don't think it will. And if it starts to go up in price, I know that we definitely will probably kill the tradition, because it's no point. There's no point at all. And doing that, you might as well just go to a different national park at that point. So I hate to be that way, and I hate to be grim about it, but well, I guess that's kind of what we're doing, is just playing it by ear with the Smokies the next couple of years and seeing how it goes with all of that in mind. 2024, really, in trip wise, we're probably going to be doing something small. So 2024 and 2025 is actually going to be the 2 years that we're going to actually be visiting places that we have gone before. So we have talked about in 2024 going back up to Upper Peninsula, Michigan, maybe, because we actually kind of fell in love with it up there. We might actually go to Isle Royale instead of Pictured Rocks, but we really haven't decided. It's so far out. We've kind of talked about it. I've mentioned it. I'm like, you know, it'd be something to do at least. So, and with the wedding and everything else going on financially by 2024, we really just want to do a smaller trip, just because we're going to be a little tight on money with planning all the wedding and stuff. We'll probably go to the Smokies again that year. We kind of debated in 2025 not to and go somewhere else, but we'll see how that goes as well. That's kind of up in the air. And we are not doing our honeymoon right after the wedding, but we are going to go a couple days to somewhere local and rent a cabin in that. So that's kind of the gist of 2024. We'll definitely probably, like I said, go to the Smokies. But 2025, we are actually taking our honeymoon. The reason being, we want to do a cruise, but the dates for said cruise that we're looking at is either on our wedding day or a week after. And so it was going to be weird, especially since I want to take a couple days off before our wedding just to be able to do any last minute changes, any, you know, meet up with people if I have to, get my nails done, because where I work at, it's just not kind to nail polish, so, or gel nails for that matter. So I just kind of want to do that. But 2025, we haven't decided when we'll do the cruise. We kind of have, really, but that's the gist of the honeymoon era anyway for 2025. And then we are talking about for my 30th, because I will be turning 30 in 2025, and I had mentioned to John that we maybe do it for our wedding anniversary as well, our first wedding anniversary, celebrating in style by going to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. Now, for some of you that don't know us, we fell in love with the Grand Canyon back in 2019. We actually went because it was one of John's bucket list things, and I was just kind of there for the ride. I planned it. I found out that the North Rim was actually more beautiful than the South Rim, and that's why we actually went to the North Rim. And they had forests and just everything up our alley. And I was just, like I said, there for the ride, and we got there, and it's really, really cool at the North Rim because you drive in and you're in forest because there's a national forest right against it, and then it's just opens to the Grand Canyon. And it was phenomenal. And that was probably the one vacation we have had, the one trip we have had that we had just fallen in love and just was at peace the entire time. We just felt at peace. We felt like we could just mosey. We didn't have a care in the world. We just loved it, and we have talked about it since on going back. So I think we'll be going back in 2025, if I have my say in it. I would love to do 2 weeks over there. That's why we talked about possibly not doing the Smokies in 2025, so we could go do 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes. It's so far out. It's 2 years out, so we're kind of not really focusing on that. We're more focused on our trip here soon by far. So that's kind of where it's at. Photography wise, update on that. I mean, I have a wedding I'll be shooting in August. I did one in February. For whatever reason, I get asked like every other year to do a wedding by either a friend or a family, and it was this year. I mean, the last one I did was in 2021, so I was due, but this was the first year I've done 2 weddings, and so it's been kind of interesting, to say the least. It's been exciting too, just to kind of, you know, be a part of their big day that way. It feels special in a way. And really, I mean, photography wise after that, fall time's usually my busiest, so I probably won't be doing anything until the family photos that I typically do. Oh, that's weird. That I typically do in the fall, so not much going on there. Like I said, I've been really focusing more on the YouTube channel than anything else, which I really need to kind of take a break and take a breather and focus some on photography a little more as well. But if the YouTube channel videos are kind of a little amateurish, it's because I've been more focused on quantity versus quality, so that's why. Fair warning. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much the long and the short of where we're at. I'm bird watching at the same time here, and I can't figure out what this bird is. Looks like a yellow warbler. Oh, I think it is a yellow warbler. I'll be darned. And you can hear a Baltimore Oriole. That's just how my mind works, I suppose. But anyway, I mean, that's pretty much long and the short of the life updates, really. Photography trips and projects, really, I mean, besides work, that's where we're at this point. Like I said before, don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be doing more of these. If you want to, comment below, give me an idea of what you want to do. I was doing themed seasons on Just Squatching Around, but I think I'm going to change that up just because it just seemed like it didn't take, and I just felt like I was very restricted as to what I could do, because sometimes I had ideas and stuff, and I was trying to go with the theme, and it wasn't going with the theme. So if you have any things that you want to see on the podcast or anything like that, I don't know if you can comment on Spotify if you're listening to it on this, but if you can, I mean, cool. Give me a comment or whatever if you can. If you're on YouTube, if you want to see more of these and have a specific thing of what you want to see, by all means, totally let me know. I know it's a little bit of just watching me ramble, but at least you can listen to it, or, you know, see my face if you wanted to, if you're trying to listen to the podcast. Anyway, yeah, guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope everything is going smoothly, and we will have another Advice Sunday on YouTube to post this week. I will not forget this week, I promise. We are having a 2-day weekend this week, so I should definitely be able to post something either Sunday or Monday. So enjoy, guys, and have a happy trails.